help our clients understand too. Like while we're working together, it may feel like texting is more efficient. There's times we just need to get on the phone, have a conversation, and be done with it. So we're both on the same page. We're both clear. There's no misunderstandings, and we can move forward. But we need to set the stage of why. Like we need to help them understand, why is this important? What is the outcome we're trying to accomplish? Welcome back to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. I got Matt Benelli with me. My name is Garrett Fry, and I appreciate all of you joining us today for another amazing episode of Life at 10 Tenths. If you are listening to this right now and you're not yet subscribed on YouTube, go subscribe on YouTube. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps us out tremendously. And if you want to get more information from Matt and I, if you love what we're putting out here, go into Life at 10 Tenths, check out our starter membership. It's a great way to lightly come into our world. You get all kinds of stuff every single day, tips, tricks, reads that we're currently going through right now, things that we are taking out of the world around us. With that being said, Matt, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, sir. And I'll also add too, if you guys love listening on an audio platform, but want to comment on the episodes, download our app, because in there for free, you can see our episodes posted and you can comment on them, or just go to YouTube and comment below the videos too, because that works really well to build community and engage with us, which we love. So appreciate y'all. Garrett, good morning. I'm excited to talk about today's topic.
Yeah, we got a fun one today. So we're going to talk about texting. You're going to text? Yes, you should probably.
I'm busy.
Yeah,
I was in this text conversation before we
finish it
started, and I just haven't finished it yet. So
yeah, that's good. This is super helpful.
Okay.
So we got
they might text me back. The bubbles are there, but then they're going away. I don't know. The dots.
Are they writing back? Are they not writing back? Are they?
I don't know.
So we get
I don't know.
Texting versus phone calls versus face-to-face, and tying this all in, Matt, to having a process, sticking to a process, or giving up the process and giving the control to somebody else because that's just the way they like to be communicated with. So let's have some fun with this, man. Let's jump in and rip this one apart, because I've had some really interesting conversations about this lately.
You know, it's funny you say control, because I know a lot of realtors who have control issues. They like to control everything, but then they give up control to their clients on the process when it comes to communication. And people say, well, but the client is always right. Well, yes, except when they're wrong, for one. And two, when you're trying to help guide them on something. It's like, hey, if you're trying to guide somebody down the street and you know we need to make a left turn to get to where we need to go, and you say, hey, here, we're going to make a left. They say, you know what? I want to make a right. You don't say, okay, let's just not go there. You say, but I'm the guide. This is where we're going. This is why your GPS goes recalculating when you make a right turn, because it's upset at you.
Well, so there's a saying that came out here a while back. I mean, it's been around for a while, which is communicate with your clients the way that they want to be communicated with. So let's put business off to the side for a second. I agree with this saying. Business off to the side. There are people in our world that, if I pick up the phone and call them, it's awkward and weird because the way they like to communicate is by text, and it's easy to send a text and banter with them through text and then move along. And if I were to pick up the phone and call them, it would be strange, it would be forced, it would be awkward. And so you then can step back and go, okay, that's the way that person likes to be communicated with, because I can tell when I pick up the phone with them, it's weird. Like there's weird energy and it just doesn't work. And there's some people that I know we can text, but the whole reason of that text is because we really like sitting face to face with each other. We don't want to talk on the phone. We really don't want to text back and forth. How are the kids doing? What have you been up to? Where are you traveling to? But we will definitely go meet for a beer. And we will sit down once a month and just go like, here's all the happenings in our world right now. How are you doing, my friend? Like, I agree with that. Communicate with people the way that they want to be communicated with. But I do not agree with this. In a high stress, high risk situation, negotiations, all this stuff that we're working through, where I just literally got off the phone with the real estate agent and he was like, but they say they want to be communicated with by text. So like, what do I do? And I'm like, you have given up your process. Like, you have given up full control of how we're going to make sure the best results get given right now. And we need to make sure we protect that, Matt.
Yeah, we do. And I agree 100% with you. When it comes to building relationships, communicating, any and all forms of communication are great, and go with what works best for that person, which means as a real estate agent, as a salesperson, as an advisor, you do need to figure out how to use multiple forms of communication.
Yep.
But when it gets into running a deal, when it gets into giving updates on what's going on with someone's listing, or talking about what did you think of that house that we saw over the weekend? There are elements where, and there are exceptions, this isn't like a 100% rule necessarily, but most of the time we want to hear the tonality in someone's voice, Garrett, right? Like, we want to know the emotion behind it versus just a text back and forth. And This is where, if you want to truly operate in your best capacity, we need to talk to them about this up front. So the expectation is set that, hey, sure, I get your schedule, I get you're busy, I get your communication, and most of the time that's how we'll communicate. However, when it comes to this, and this, it would be best for us to hop on a phone or to get on a Zoom or potentially to meet face to face to discuss important things.
Yeah.
I think we did an episode on our prior podcast, Garrett, where I related it to the reality TV shows, right? Everybody, if you don't watch reality TV for real estate, that's okay. But if you probably have seen where they get together for the negotiation, right? And while it may be a reenactment of what really happened, or maybe it is actually happening right then,
it's a reenactment.
There is power in having those people face to face, so that, one, it creates drama. You're interested in seeing it. Imagine if $1 Million Listing was just this. It's just
sending text
thumbs
back and
on
forth.
a phone.
They're like, well, here's the text I just sent the client, and then the client's on the other end, cameras following them. Oh, I just received a text from my realtor. Here's the text. How should I? Okay, we're going to respond this way.
Well, I love when they do the text. They're just like, oh, I just sent the text. Now we just wait. Like, oh, they got back to me. I'm like, no, it didn't happen like that. When they just, like, they knew that the text was coming. But the face-to-face interaction showcase, because I've had experience with this. Gary, you've had experience with this. Many of our clients have experience with this. If you do have the opportunity to negotiate face-to-face, it gets done faster.
Oh.
Both parties are typically happy and ready to go with the deal because they've seen all the emotion, they've heard the tonality, they understand everything. That gets lost in text message. And now just take it back to you as your advisor communicating with your client, Garrett, and we lose a lot of opportunity.
Well, and I've said this before. I know I've said it on the podcast, Matt. There was a study back from UCLA back in the, it was early. It was, I think it was like 2007 thing when I saw this study come out. And they said in the written word, so like text, email, whatever, if the tonality has been taken out of it, 80% of those are open to miscommunication or misunderstandings. Like we just 80%. So we just need to understand, like, the amount of times that we've sent an email, we've sent a text, and on our end, we're like, what did they mean by that? Like, or we misread it, and then all of a sudden we fire back with something, or all of a sudden we stew on something, going like I don't like the way they responded to that, or I don't like their tone. You don't even have a tone. Like, there is no tone. We're making up tone is what we're doing in our head. So I think it's one of those, like, we need to set the stage and we need to prepare them. And so, Matt, you said two things. One is you said set the stage up front, but the other piece you said was efficiency with time. And I think that when we look at texting, a lot of times we think we're being efficient because we're not interrupting their world. We're not calling them and making them stop. And they can get back to our text whenever it's convenient for them. But sometimes that conversation is now turned into an hour conversation, an hour's worth of time back and forth and sending texts and checking your phone and have they responded yet? Nope, they haven't responded. Well, it could have been a 10-minute phone call and been done and over with. And I think that we need to understand that we're not always saving time, and help our clients understand too, like, while we're working together, it may feel like texting is more efficient. There's times we just need to get on the phone, have a conversation and be done with it. So we're both on the same page. We're both clear. There's no misunderstandings and we can move forward. But we need to set the stage of why. Like, we need to help them understand, why is this important? What is the outcome we're trying to accomplish? And where's the pitfall of us maybe not doing that and going like, well, I know we always text, so let's just continue texting because that's how we've communicated for the last 5 years. You just gotta be careful.
Go on.
So then you talk about setting the stage. So let's talk about that. Setting the stage up front.
So this is just like when we set up the stage for doing client service calls, right? And many of you listening, I love you all very, very much, but I know that the most of you are not doing this. No. And I'm begging you to please do this. When you are concluding your consultations with buyers and sellers, all you have to say is, here's what's going to happen next, right? You went over the marketing plan, you went over the showing plan, you did all that stuff, so they know emails and all that stuff is coming, but here's what's going to happen next. Every week you're going to hear from me. I call all of my clients every single week. Here's why I call. It's because I want to make sure that we connect and we can hear each other's tone, and I want to make sure that we provide a comprehensive update where everything's understood. Where sometimes if we just email it or we just text it, we might miss something. And I want to make sure that we're on the same page every single week so we don't miss an opportunity to achieve your goals.
Yep.
Does that work for you?
I have found when a realtor sets us up, Matt, and they just say, look, this is part of my process, you are going to receive a phone call from me every single week. It is up to you whether you want to answer it or not. I give you permission to not answer it if you don't want to talk to me. But it is going to be a phone call I'm going to make. If you don't pick it up, I will leave a voicemail. But it is an opportunity that you know I will be calling. You can expect that I'm going to be calling on Monday morning at this time. And that is a chance that if you have questions, concerns, things that you need to talk to me about, this is your opportunity to be able to do it. You now have opened the door, you've set the standard, and you tell them, hey, I have a process in how I do this so I can get the best results for you. And you're not confused, because what happens is we don't do these customer service calls, Matt, where we kind of leave them out there. 9 times out of 10, I will have a coaching client come to me going, man, this client and I, we are not seeing eye to eye, and I don't know what they're doing. And I just feel like this deal is starting to kind of come apart. I think they're going to cancel the listing. I think this buyer, they're kind of ghosting me right now. Like, all these things start to come up. And every single time, are you having a weekly check-in breakdown of where are you guys at? What is the marketplace doing? Where are we going? What are we trying to accomplish? And the answer is no. I'm like, yeah, you have a breakdown in communication. And they probably feel like they're talking to them because they're texting them.
It's like, yeah, we got the text. And here's the thing. You can't control what your client does. You can't control them answering the phone on something like that. But what you're also trying to do here is setting your own habits for phone communication, voice to voice, potentially face to face, where this is your highest opportunity to also build a better relationship that leads to referrals. Now, if the client on the other side is, somebody who's super busy, they're always running around and they're not going to take your calls, or maybe they have a job where they work the off hours. And so we just never really get to connect in that way. This is where if that's the case, so you do the whole pitch, Garrett, just like you said, and they're like, yeah, no, text and email is great for me. You're like, cool, I'm still going to drop you a voicemail. And they're like, no, absolutely not. Don't do it. You're like, all right, cool. I respect that. However, if an offer comes in, or if there's something really important, I'm going to text you and just let you know that. And then we'll book a time for us to connect. Would that work for you? Most of the time people will say, yes, of course, because they're trading their most important and highest valued asset. They're not going to just let that go on the side and be like, it'll be what it'll be. They want involvement. And so by setting the precedent for yourself, you're also going to be a better negotiator with other agents. You're going to be a better communicator overall. So there's a lot of good things that come from it just by setting the standard, even if the client is someone who's not going to do it. And Garrett, I would argue that the majority of clients out there, real estate clients, welcome the phone call, and they will totally have that conversation.
Well, a big part of it is what is the risk and what is the reward? And so I think a lot of times in these situations, it's easy just to say, I just want to talk and you be communicated with by text. But if you can explain what is what is the pitfall around that during a time of negotiation and these important tasks, be it time, be it misunderstandings, be it these types of things. It's just too important that I can hear your tone and you can hear my tone as we talk these things through and we negotiate together and we're working on this deal. This is your opportunity to let them understand the risk and the reward side of this. More often than not, when they understand the risk and the reward side of it, they're going to say, okay, I'll totally take that phone call because I understand why. When you don't understand why, there's no reason to go outside of your normal pattern and say, I'm going to do something different. And this is really important for people to understand. Anytime you want somebody to act differently than they normally react, you've got to give them a good reason of why they're going to deviate from their normal plan, their normal kind of play mode. Mm-hmm. So I think there's this next step, Matt, of like, well, sometimes it's going to be important for us to get face to face. Like here we have text. Here we have the phone. If I was sitting in front of a client, setting the stage of how we're going to work together, I would even bring up that sometimes during this transaction, it might be important enough for us not to get on the phone. I might stop by your office. I might need you to stop by my office. We might need to go meet somewhere so we can all sit down. And it's important for us to, and you can say this out loud, I would say it because this is how I talk to people, but it's important for me to see your body language.
Yeah.
And you need to see mine because this is a really important thing that we're going to be discussing. And there's little things that I won't be able to hear in your voice that I need to know as we're working through this so I can help guide you and I can help make sure you're going to get to where you need to go and maybe not get, hopefully help you from freaking out. Because it happens.
It does happen. And if that's going to happen, you also want to see that body language too. Listen, I've seen sellers freak out right in front of my face before. And I'm glad that I did because okay, this is what we need to talk about right here. Right. And
you watch their shoulders go back, Matt. You watch them sit up a little bit. You watch them they kind of tilt their head a little bit. You watch their eyebrows,
them throw things. I mean,
well, there's that level, but I'm going what leads up to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where they flip the table over. It's there's some signs that happen before that happened. There's some things you could have seen.
And here's the other thing too, Garrett, the face-to-face, even just offering or saying that that's something that we do, it shows that you care. I mean, how many of you have, and hopefully this hasn't happened to you a bunch, but every now and then you have that client who's like, I just don't even know if my agent cares. Where are they? Yep. And you're like, but I'm giving them the updates. I'm doing all the things. It's have you physically shown up? Have you had a meeting? And this will give you an idea of what absorptions rates looked like when I was handling this listing. I had quarterly, at least once a quarter, face-to-face meetings with one of my sellers. Okay. Wait, quarterly meetings? That seems like a long, yes. They lived in a different state. And I will tell you, those are some of the most powerful meetings because we got to connect, share energy. They were able to see how much I cared about their goals and guiding them and also understanding their decisions. Because here's the thing, a lot of agents, and this might be you out there, and I've been in this position, the seller makes a decision, the buyer makes a decision, and you're frustrated, right? You're like, well, why won't they make this decision? Well, being face-to-face will help you see the emotion behind their decision, which will allow you to deploy more empathy and focus on them instead of yourself. Because it's not about them doing the right thing that gets you a commission check. It's about them being ready to make the decision that's going to allow them to get to where they want to go. And if they don't, okay. Yeah. Right? Then you can make a business decision, but seeing them in person gives you that extra level of empathy, Garrett. What do they say? 60% of our communication comes through body language.
Yep. So the interesting thing is when you're going through face to face with somebody, let's say the points of a contract or things, and let's say it's a high stakes contract. Let's say maybe it's not the offer that they wanted to receive, but it's probably the offer they should accept. It's one of those, as you're going through all the pieces of it, when you're face to face, you can watch whatever term of that contract where all of a sudden their body language changes. Yeah. All of a sudden they kind of shift in their seat or do something different. You can be like, let's stop and talk about this for a second. Let's pull in some more information around this so we can talk it through instead of if it was a phone call or God forbid a text trying to do negotiations of a contract, which have been done out there.
It's done a lot. Probably people listen like, I'm fine. Like I put deals together via text. It's not a big deal. It's like until it's not, until it is.
And I don't understand why my client's not seeing the value in this. I don't understand why they're not moving forward with this thing. Well, you don't even know what they're confused about or what they're hung up on or that little piece that if you were sitting there with them, or at least if you had them on the phone, you'd be like, I can tell their tone changed, their body language changed, something changed as we were going through this. And part of us being a professional, Matt, is being able to say, look, you're going to come into my process here because I have predictable results that I'm going to be able to produce for you. And this is how I run this process. This is why you've actually hired me. I'm not here to be your yes man. I'm not here to be this person that every single time you time me to jump, I'm just going, well, how high? In what direction? Where do you want me to go? Like, that is not how we can produce the results over and over and over again for our clients. And we don't set the stage. And communication is a huge piece of how we need to set the stage with working with people. And I was thinking about the face-to-face as you were just talking here, Matt, trying to be like, okay, well, what are the times in our world, normal life, that like all of a sudden it's important to say, let's get face-to-face. Let's take real estate out of the equation for a second. I'm going back to raising kids. There are times that the teacher will send an email over going like, hey, so this happened in class today. Just want to let you know, like, this is what's kind of going on. And we have a little bit of like, okay, we talked to our kid in the evening going like, so what happened in class today? Like, what's kind of going on there? Like, everything okay? And you have this conversation. There is a place, and I know this because I've been on the receiving end of it, of like, hey, we need to have a parent and teacher meeting. Like, well, why are we doing that? We could just do this over text. We could do this over email. I don't have time to come in right now. Well, there's a couple things. One is your child's super important to you. So all of a sudden you have a teacher that wants to talk to you about your kid and things that are going on. We understand the value of it as parents. We understand the risk and the reward side of here. So making sure that they're on the right page, they're having a good experience, things are working for them. When can we set that time to come to get together? And during that meeting, face to face, watching the teacher talk about your kid, sometimes even having your kid in the room there with you and watching the interaction and the energy around them and how they interact as the teacher saying, well, this is kind of what's going on right now. Like, you learn so much in that moment that can't be done through text. It can't be done through email. It can't be done over the phone. You have to see this all play out, and it's for all parties. You know, because the teacher's also looking and they're looking at us going like, is something happening at home? That maybe as I ask about this, how is the parent responding? How are they acting? Are they getting irate? Are they getting concerned? Are they closing up? Are they wanting to get out of there? Like, everybody is learning so much. Only done face-to-face though. Can't be done any other way. And I think we need to look at like a real estate transaction is a high risk, high reward situation that these people don't do very often. They do not do this enough, and they need a professional in their corner who's going to say, hey, here's how we're going to get you to where you need to go. Trust me. Yeah. You got to trust me. If you don't, we have a problem up front.
You build that better relationship. You get to see those things. And I think video is the bridge here too, if you need to use it. And I was thinking about, as you were talking about that scenario, Garrett, like, when have you ever seen a court case get negotiated out through text? Okay, we're here for this trial. We're just everybody is just coming in on the group text.
How long would that take? How long would that take?
I mean, you know, there's a reason why, and there's different levels. Depositions are typically done in person. They are recorded, right? Now, I know there's also Zoom court that happens now as well, which produces some funny videos on the internet, particularly when people are zooming in for an expired driver's license while they're driving. Hilarious. Yeah. But they do that because the judge and the attorneys want to see how people are acting, because it might change how they might ask questions, might change what they say next. And if you are missing out on this and you're just like, I can just do everything via text, you are basically dulling your skill set as a negotiator and as a true trusted advisor. So the more you engage in phone, video, face-to-face conversations, you're going to sharpen your skill, which is going to help you negotiate. So for those ones like, well, it works, you know, it's fine, I'm getting deals done. It's like, well, how much more would you have been able to get your client if maybe we picked up the phone or we hopped on a video, or God forbid we met face to face. Would it be an extra 5,000? Would it be an extra 10,000? May not mean much to you from a 500, 800 million dollar price point and what that commission check might be, but that could be a lot of money to the client if we're just getting that extra little bit, Garrett. And it might even be like at that, like you were saying too, we got to have these tough conversations where like, we know like, gosh, this offer is rough, but the way the market's trending right now, like we need to try to go to bat on this one. And I got to be next to my seller, next to my buyer, on their side. We need to be doing this together with our energy. You could be missing out on the opportunity to help them make a decision that's going to be amazing for them, or they don't make that decision. And here's the challenge, Garrett. Like, you never know. If you don't engage it, you never know if you missed an opportunity. Why not at least put that effort in?
What's interesting is all this technology has continued to evolve and continued to develop so that we can save time and save, energy, and we're not having to be, as face to face with people. Maybe we want to try to avoid that as much as possible. I don't know what's going on out there, but we talked about this a long time ago, Matt, about like how things have changed in real estate. And so I remember when I got into real estate, 2004, I think, is when I got my license. 2003, I got my license and really started practicing in 2004. As I went through 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, banks failed, 2008, still selling real estate through these times. I was somebody who presented all my offers that I wrote to the actual seller and the agent together, face to face. That was how I represented my buyers. And I did it for many, many, many reasons. Because when I was presenting the offer, I got to watch the body language of the people on the other side of the table from me. And I could adjust and do things immediately right there in real time to be like, I had backup plans. I'd already talked to my clients about if there's an issue with this, like, how can I go? Are we willing to go a little bit higher? Do you have a little bit of room there that I can negotiate for you? By going like, what if we did this? What if we adjusted this on the contract? How would you feel about that? We could have these conversations in real time right there. We have lost this entire amazing opportunity because we're trying to save time and we're trying to do this in a way that these guys have said, oh, we just like to have it done this way. I know there's agents out here right now going, I would never let my seller sit across from the buyer's agent and have them present their offer. That's really too bad, by the way. I think it's a missed opportunity to bring these parties together. Now, would I have buyer and seller sit across from the table from each other? I think there is a place there of understanding the negotiation, and there's probably the right times to do it. But gosh, I loved it. And if I really wanted to put a deal together, I would let the buyer's agent present that offer. But even back then, it was something that wasn't done very often unless the buyer's agent asked and said, I would really like to present this offer face to face.
Yeah.
And it was amazing how often they would be like, all right, I'll call my seller and like, we'll bring him into the office. We'll meet. We're going to do it at usually the listing agent was always like, my office though. That's what we're doing. I'm like, great. I'll meet you over there at this time.
Today, people are like, oh, too many offers coming in. We don't have the time to do that. It's like, that's not the point.
Well, and I mean, we were at a time, Matt, that and that's why I was saying through those years, I did most of my real estate, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. We had crazy amounts of inventory on the market. We had properties sitting on the market for a long time. When we did get an offer on a property, that might be the only offer we got that month. Yeah. So it was like, let's make it work. Like, let's make this one happen.
Well, I think it highlights, Garrett, not just from a communication modality, but we've gotten to the point where most agents are intermediaries instead of being brokers, because and we don't need to go down a whole nother path, but you highlighted, I talked to my client before, so I had more knowledge, so I could go and engage in this negotiation with their authorization for certain things without having to be the agent that's like, okay, great, thanks. Let me go see what my client says. Okay, my client says this. Okay, then you're just moving in. You might as well let the buyer and seller duke it out, because all you're doing is moving information from one side to the other and playing telephone.
I used to love it when I could sit there and go, if I could get my buyer to do this, would this work for you? And they'd be like, Well, yeah, that would work. And I already knew going back to my buyer, that was half of what he was willing to do or half of what she was willing to do. So I'm coming back and I'm going like, okay, guys, here's where we're at. We have a deal. And you're not having to give everything you wanted. We had to concede a little bit. Like, you gave me this much to work with. We only had to use half of it. We have a deal. Let's move forward. And then I would call back and be like, I'm so happy my buyers decided. I already knew I had a deal. I knew I had a deal before I was leaving the office.
Yeah.
Because I knew what my buyer was willing to do. Like, I think we need to, there's so many reasons why we can lean into the face-to-face. I mean, obviously this whole thing started, Matt. Text versus versus phone versus face-to-face. And I hope everybody listening to this is understanding, like, there's so much power in these different tools that we have. And there's the right times. I'm not saying don't use text. Don't tell your client, like, I will never use text with you because we're doing real estate now. Texting's off the table. Not it. Like, you just need to know where the power lies. And face-to-face is becoming a lost art that I think if you lean into it, you will become a more powerful agent. You will get more done faster. It feels slower because we're having to bring everybody together, but man, things get done. That's what happens when you're face-to-face.
It does. There's efficiency and effectiveness, and that's what I want everybody to think about with this is, am I being efficient and am I being effective? And coming back to where we started with me pretending to text on my phone, the whole point of that is how many times do you guys, like, how many of you right now have open conversations in your text messages where sometimes you literally are going back and forth with the person when you could just pick up the phone or take the phone that's in your hand. You already picked it up. Just put it to your ear. Hey, let's have this conversation. Or how many times have you hesitated to get in the car or, God forbid, texting while driving, which is so dumb, by the way. Don't do it. And I know some of you do that. Stop it.
Matt's pointing directly at you right now, just so you know.
And if you think about the effectiveness and the efficiency of your communication, it'll help you rethink the modals, and you do your best. You can only control what you do, but put your best foot forward here and create an awesome business. And the side effect from this long-term, Garrett, is that you have people who are like, Garrett knows what he's doing. And it's not just because that he got you that result. It's because Garrett took the time to manage a process and they felt it all the way through. And that's a crucial point of this. So I like talking about this, and I will add to Garrett, maybe we do a different episode on communication modalities for just building relationships, because there is a lot of fun that you can do with text messages and other things as well to help relationships thrive, so that when it can come to that point where, like, now we talk on the phone because we're doing a deal.
They're again, all amazing tools used in the right way. And I love text messaging. Like, it is one of my, if I look at my phone, I couldn't tell you the amazing amount of texts that I send every single day. And the funny laughs, like I just got one, Colleen Fueling, you know who you are. I laughed last night because I got one from her, and it was funny because she was quoting things out of the podcast and things that were going on. And I then shared that with my wife, and then I shared it, Matt, with you, and we jumped on. And I think, like, there's these times that text can be extremely powerful and bring a lot of energy in. But there's no decision making that was made and needed around that text. There was nothing that I needed to get back to her over and be like, oh, here, let me help you with that. Or let's go and have to work through that right now. My response was, like, it was a laugh. It's all it was. Like, and I think, like, there's the power in all these pieces, and you use them wisely and use them to your advantage and get good at all of them. Communication is a lost art. And it happens through negotiation. It happens through relationship building, rapport building. And it is something that we can all get better at all the time. Strengthen the tools that you have. So
definitely can. So, well, Garrett, thanks for bringing this topic to the table. It's such a good one. And thank you all for tuning into us. If you haven't yet hopped over to YouTube to subscribe, like, hit the bell so you get the notifications if you enjoy watching us YouTube. But even if you have done that, head over there and comment below the video. What did you take away from this episode? How do you like to communicate with your clients? Share a story in the comments that we can all learn from or just laugh with. And if you want to hop into our community and comment on the episode in there, where we have a little section in our app called podcast episodes where you can see all of them. And then Garrett and I get in there and comment with everybody as well. So you can communicate with us that way as well. If you'd like to, you can just download our app on the Android or Google Play or Apple Store or whatever store, or just log in online. You can do that too. But if you guys do want to go deeper than that, get access to week over week live coaching with an incredible group of people led by Garrett and myself, join the 11 Circle. We got a 7-day free trial, which you can check out at lifeat10tense.com. Other than that, thank you guys. We really appreciate you being here, and we love doing this, and we will see you on the next episode.
Thank you, everybody.